up to and how we feel. Having the right clothes on means everything to God. I'm going to read you a story, though, about an emperor. Some of you may know this story. Some of you may have never heard it. It's actually a fairy tale which was written in 1837 by a man named Hans Christian Andersen. It's called The Emperor's New Clothes. Because of the length of the story, I'm going to start out with the real story so you can kind of get the flavor. I wanted to read the whole thing, but it's too long. And then I'll kind of slide through and give you an outline of the ending. Many years ago, there lived an emperor who was so fond of new clothes that he spent all his money on them in order to be beautifully dressed. He did not care about his soldiers. He did not care about the theater. He only liked to go out walking to show off his new clothes. He had a coat for every hour of the day, and just as they say of a king, he's in the council chamber, they always said, the emperor's in the workroom. In the great city in which he lived, there was always something going on. Every day, many strangers came there. One day, 2 impostors arrived who gave themselves out as weavers and said that they knew how to manufacture the most beautiful cloth imaginable. Not only were the texture and pattern uncommonly beautiful, but the clothes which were made of the stuff possessed this wonderful property that they were invisible to anyone who was not fit for his office or who was unpardonably stupid. Doesn't really use that word. Those must indeed be splendid clothes, thought the emperor. If I had them, I could find out which men in my kingdom are unfit for the offices they hold. I could distinguish the wise from the stupid. Yes, this cloth must be woven for me at once. And he gave both the impostors much money so that they might begin their work. They placed 2 weaving looms and began to do as if they were working, but they had not the least thing on the looms. They also demanded the finest silk and the best gold, which they put in their pockets, and worked at the empty looms till late into the night. After a few days, the emperor sends his old minister to look after the work, but when he gets to the weavers, he sees nothing. He's very upset and afraid to be judged as being stupid. So he reports back to the emperor how beautiful the new cloth is. A few days later, another man is sent to the weavers to make an inspection of the cloth. This man doesn't see anything either, of course, because there's nothing to see. Afraid of not being good at his job, he also pretends to see. He returns to the emperor and tells him everything about the most wonderful cloth he has ever seen. Now the emperor decides to visit the weavers himself and to see how things are going. Arriving there, he naturally sees nothing, but because of his fear to be seen as stupid or incapable, he tells the weavers how magnificent the cloth is. He even gives them more money, silk and gold, and asks them when they will have the work finished. He decides to wear his new clothes at the upcoming great parade. On the day of the parade, the weavers meet with the emperor and dress him in his new clothes. They tell him how beautiful he looks and praise the lightness of the material. The emperor, without seeing anything, praises them for their excellent work. He then goes out to the parade with nothing on but his underwear, while all his lords-in-waiting are holding the train of the clothes, or at least pretend they're holding it. All the people in the streets and at the windows say how magnificent these clothes are. No one dares to admit that there's nothing to see, because then he would either be incapable or else very stupid. But suddenly, a little child says, "But he hasn't got anything on." After a moment in silence, soon everyone is shouting, "He really has got nothing on." And because children are innocent and honest, it is clear that the child doesn't lie. Even though the emperor realizes that they are right, he proudly walks on with his lords-in-waiting, holding a train that isn't there at all, only because he is too proud to admit that he has been cheated. When our